We will be reviewing and looking at R&B is officially dead. This is a video by Hip Hop Madness, and without further ado, let's get into it.
Blame, you know, a lot of the R&B people have to go introverted or look like they're emo to This is what we have to do. Like, but I feel like there's a scarcity of confident males that can sing.
At the dawning of popular music, what was then known as rhythm and blues dominated the airwaves. A sound of revolution in both its lyrics, musicality, and ability to transcend racial boundaries, R&B quickly rose to popularity in the 40s. Over time, the genre progressed from the Motown sound of the 70s to the flashiness of the 90s and slow-burning sensitivity of the early 2000s. Not to mention that in the 80s, Michael Jackson merged the sounds of pop and R&B in a way that made them barely distinguishable from the other. Nowadays, rappers sing and singers rap. But when you start to take a closer look at modern R&B, you can notice an alarming trend. While women like SZA,
I was literally just about to say that. The reason why R&B is not where it needs to be is just like bro just said in the video. Rappers are singing and singers are rapping. If there never would have been this notion of like R&B singers just sticking to the script and actually staying in the lane of like, hey, let me be a singer and not try to be a rapper, this video wouldn't even came out. But nowadays, R&B is not what it used to be when I was coming up as a young youth, man. Like they used to push neo soul and just like 90s baby making R&B music when I was younger. And then as time progressed, like they strayed away from like pushing that type of music, that quiet, the quiet storm type of R&B, the baby making R&B, the midnight R&B-esque type thing going on. They stopped pushing all of that and they started pushing like a more hip hop driven R&B. And then it just got to the point where R&B singers, as it was stated, stopped singing and started trying to rap, And then couple that in with, not to say that R&B is completely like dead. It's just, I believe mainstream R&B is dead. Like mainstream R&B will never be where it was, like it was in the 90s or the early 2000s, the mid 2000s. It will never be where it was because of how how the industry is pushing R&B out now.
Doja Cat and Summer Walker to Georgia Smith and Kalani are so highly respected to the point that they're practically worshipped. The same can't be said for their male peers. And now we're reaching a point where there is an entire generation of male R&B singers who haven't been able to reach the same level of fame and respect as someone like Usher, who is still labeled the king of R&B.
Hey man, you call me that, I'll definitely carry it. I'm gonna tilt my crown, knowing that
he's the king of R&B.
Of all of the icons of our time,
I don't know.
Michael that I stand on the shoulders of. You want to give me that crown? You tell me who's gonna do it better. I'm carrying them. So if anything, you want to give me a crown? I'm the last of my kind. I've been working to the point where I do own that, and I do deserve that, and I ain't gonna ask for it no more.
Although he once seemed like a worthy replacement, Chris Brown's fan base has been divided ever since the Rihanna incident. Complete with slick dance moves and vocals that were made for major radio, Breezy was cut from the same cloth as Michael Jackson. But as the shape of R&B changed, Chris has struggled to adapt, and now he's lashing out. When's the last time you heard a slow song on the radio saying R&B is dead?
His whole entire thing is just like, bruh. His whole entire emphasis on people thinking like he's less R&B or he's the king of R&B or this and that. The crazy part about all this is that the Rihanna thing is gonna always follow him no matter what. It doesn't matter if Chris Brown drops like another one of those albums where he has like 200 songs on it, or 200 songs and 50 videos to go with whatever album he puts out. It's just like, it's never gonna stop. It's never like that whole entire Rihanna thing is just never gonna stop following him, and it's gonna follow him until he decides to stop singing. So that's done and out of the way. And this even goes back to the whole thing with him and him calling out the Grammys because he didn't even get, I believe he either didn't get nominated or he didn't win best R&B album, I believe, because it was Robert Glasper who actually won it. And to even, be offended that there are other people who actually make honest R&B and being mad at that person who also makes R&B, who is like the DJ Khaled of R&B, to even be mad at that is crazy. You should be trying to work with somebody like a Robert Glasper. And then once you work with him, then you could be like, you know what? I don't even know what I was tripping about with this cat. His music is actually touching on something. He touches on a different part of R&B, and I should have never called him out. I should have never called out another black man because of, how I felt about the Grammys. It's really the Grammys that is the problem, and not this person who they decided should win, but it went a different way.
Respectfully, shut the f*** up. People nowadays want fast food instead of a real meal. Willing to point the finger at everyone but himself, the changing sound for R&B has led to a lot of frustration for an artist who always immediately went platinum. And when his 11th studio album Breezy reached an all-career low of number 4 on the charts, selling 72K first week, it was DJ Academics that really put things into perspective about the state of Chris's career.
Chris Brown should have been the weekend before the weekend. And I get it. I know you got
I don't know about that.
But God damn it. Chris Brown, we don't want to hear you over ATL Jacob, Metro Boomin. Those are songs for the moment. You're an icon. We want you to give us classics we could dance to for.
Facts.
And when I hear you on a song with ESTG, there's nobody in their mind that'll play that
Facts.
song a year from now. That's what I'm trying to tell us. Brother, you're the guy, but you got to embrace what you want. Make lifetime music.
In T-Pain's opinion, Chris's tantrum is part of a larger problem that has affected his career, mainly being that he has a sense of entitlement to him that really comes from everyone expecting him to be the next king of R&B for so long.
Now, Chris Brown is my mother, but I know what his faults are.
All right, so I want to talk to you about Atlas VPN. Using a server in all 50 power and Rickon works with all major streaming services. And that's not all Atlas VPN provides. They encrypt your data too, keeping it half. Better your entire maximize. $1 time off back to
the accolades of a pretty person for doing absolutely nothing and just being pretty. The second that the first real mother comes to you and say, hey, you ain't that pretty, it's over. So now it's like, y'all must have done something wrong because I've done the same thing that I've done every time that it's gone great.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem with that. Going back to what he just said. So now it's like, y'all must have done something wrong because I've done the same thing that I've done every time. And that ish has gone great. See, here's the thing. It's crazy because I was just about to get into the reason why Chris Brown is the way his career is the way it is. A lot of it is redundancy. It's like, if this worked for me about 3 years ago, I'm going to keep on doing it. So if I keep on doing it, everybody should still eat it up. It's like if I cook a cheeseburger a certain way and I put all the toppings on this cheeseburger, right? And everybody loved it the first time I did it. Let's just say let's just say down the line somewhere I invite everybody over and I make that same cheeseburger. These people are gonna probably be like, bro, why are you making the same cheeseburger? Like, can you make it differently? Can you add this or add that? I don't want the same cheeseburger that you gave me last time I was over here. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what I feel like we got going on over here. He's giving us the same rubric over the years. And since that has worked in the past, it's like, well, I should be hitting all cylinders now. I gave y'all the same stuff 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it worked flawlessly. And now I bring it back to you in when did that album come out? That album came out last year, I believe. And it's like, y'all telling me now that y'all don't like it? Y'all don't rock with it now? It's like, yes, because we want you to do something else. Like we are tired of the same one trick pony style from you, you know? All the dancing is cool, you know, you it's not like you can't sing, it's just we need something different. We don't want to hear you on trap beats. We want to actually hear you specific. Like if he would have if Chris Brown would have just been doing specifically just R&B beats with no like fusion of like trap music or anything like that, I would be applauding this man. I wouldn't even be like, man, I'd be like, yo, he's like really staying true to being like R&B and just sticking to doing R&B. Instead of like trying to do trap and mix all these different genres all down into one and put it on an album, he's strictly sticking to R&B, you know? And I think that's a problem for a lot of like newer R&B acts, you know?
Y'all must have done it because I've done the same thing that I've done every time that it's gone great. So now y'all must have done something wrong because it ain't me. I'm Chris Brown.
At the tail end of last year, his scheduled performances at the AMAs was cut last minute due to advertiser concerns about his past. And even though they claimed it was
which is weird,
personal, in true Chris form, he took it to heart. Seems like y'all only invested in negative stories about me. Chris gets in trouble, the whole world is on it. I'm back on my gangster. It's bracking at all times.
See, that's another damn thing. That's another damn thing. The gangster stuff. Like, bro, stop that. Like, do you have to like preach a gangster image? Like, I've never heard of like a R&B singer trying to preach a gangster image. Like, bro, like knock that off. Like, I think that's another reason why ain't nobody feeling your music now. Like, you mixing being gangster with singing R&B music, like what? Like that doesn't even make no sense.
Another talented artist who failed through his own personal misadventures is Tory Lanez, a versatile artist who could easily weave between R&B and hip-hop. Tory's Chicks Tape series and other projects like Playboy marked him out as the leading light for those who wanted to hear R&B in its traditional form. For a while, it really felt like Tory was giving fans the R&B they craved. But after everything that happened with the Megan Thee Stallion shooting case, audiences' love for Lanez immediately disappeared. Now, he's facing major prison time. But even if it isn't due to a personal failing like with Chris or Tory, there's been another reoccurring trend of talented up-and-coming R&B artists failing to live up to their potential.
But see, he's different. He's way different from both of them. He's way different. He's just like, Frank Ocean is just mysterious. Frank Ocean is the type of artist, which by the way, I love. Frank Ocean is the type of artist who will do some music, put it out, and then just disappear. Same way with The Weeknd. The Weeknd will put his music out and then just disappear. Like, go mind his business. Go perform. Go put out his music. Go perform at concerts and stuff like that, and then just go mind his business. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, sometimes you don't need sometimes with artists, you don't need for there to be a personality. You don't need to know what at all times what's going on with an artist. As long as they putting out that music, I don't want to hear anything else.
Tyler, the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, and the internet. Frank's entire career has been an exercise in subverting everything that you need to do to become a superstar in normal terms. Defined as an album artist who creates incredible conceptual suites for audiences to delve into time and time again, Frank's records may have topped the charts, but he's never so much as guested on a feature that's entered the top 10. A man who values his art and privacy over courting the mega stars that those who can't
and that's the problem.
Frank hasn't even unveiled an album since 2016's Blonde. More of an elusive creative force like Prince than he ever was a disciple of Michael Jackson. Frank creates in a vacuum that's far removed from R&B stardom. Besides, the major label machine would never, ever get behind him, ever since he famously finessed Def Jam and Universal.
I was just about to bring that up.
He had a deal, and he didn't put out an album in 4 years. And with his deal, he literally figured out how to get $20 million from Lucian Grange. Drop his deal, figure out how to make the funds apply to a whole nother album, give him a book album, get out his deal all in one round. Do you know how embarrassed the record industry was?
Yeah.
But Frank has chosen to play by his own rules. There are other artists who intended to play the game, only for it to leave them in the dust. Take Bryson Tiller, for example.
Oh,
a man
yeah.
who once had potential to alter the entire
Crazy.
genre
I
of
love
DNA
Bryson
rap
Tiller
soul.
too, bro.
Bryson later admitted that he was depressed while making its follow-up, True to Self, and fully admitted to his fans that he lost his confidence. Meanwhile, the man who once controversially said that no one was checking for Bryson anymore, YK Osiris, let his image get ruined through social media antics, which damaged his credibility. Carrying an inflated ego, which had him labeling himself as the king of R&B, even as his debut album topped out at number 90 on the billboards, YK's proximity to some of the biggest rappers in the game left him looking like a clown, with the likes of Lil Baby, Yachty, and Drizzy openly mocking him online.
You owe me 60 bands, and you have to perform the song right now in the crib. What are we talking about? I'm giving you an out. I'm not Baby. I'm not Boosie. You owe me 60.
Oh yeah, and by the way, he was one of those people who was calling out stuff that was going on in the industry. You know, and when it's like whenever you either embarrass record companies or finesse record companies or call out the whole entire recording industry, they will do things or set examples to make sure that you and anything that has to do with your music is not going to thrive. And y'all have to remember, he did do that. So, I mean, at the same token, he can't be whatever it is, you know, when things start not going his way. You know what I'm saying? When you call out the industry, be ready to take whatever is coming with it. Basically, that's what I think is going on with YK Osiris as of this moment.
60 bands. I'm playing the song right now. You ready? You won't owe me no money. I need a full performance dose.
While other artists within the New Jack Swing vein like Keith Sweat, Teddy Riley, and Bobby Brown created music with the charts in mind, one other issue that is plaguing male R&B is that it seems like a lot of its leading lights are more interested in creating their own world than they are aiming to dominate the charts. Case in point, Miguel, who used to command respect and adoration since the drop of his sophomore album Kaleidoscope Dreams, has walked a strange path in that he was once at the top and then seemed to willingly step out of the spotlight. Being the subject of memes after he accidentally let go of a woman from the stage, Miguel's music has become increasingly unapproachable in a way that suggests he has no intentions of being the marketable star that he was once groomed as. His 2017 album War and Leisure only reached number 9 on the Billboard charts, where he was used to being in the top 5 with his previous albums. Now, he hasn't been seen on the charts since 2020. By refusing to make commercial music, a divide was created between
that's another thing, not wanting to make commercial music.
Unable to recapture the buzz he first had. In recent years, this has been an issue for many prominent R&B artists. From Ty Dolla $ign to Black, Drum, and others, the music that they wish to make versus what's capable of driving sales are two totally different things. The Weeknd, whose signature sound was pursued by Drake for OVO, has also been deviating from the revolutionary sound that he originally created in 2015. Wildly imitated, but never replicated. It seemed like his moody...
I told you. I'm telling y'all, the whole entire reason why all these artists don't want to make industry music is because it devolves into their personalities. They don't want to invite people in. All those artists they just mentioned just now, Black, Dram, all those guys, they probably are private as hell. They don't want nobody knowing what they got going on. They just want to make the music and mind their business. That I feel like that's for a lot of those artists that this video just mentioned is really like a privacy thing. Like, I just want to make my music and mind my business. That's it. Weeknd is the biggest proponent of that, bruh. Seriously.
Have set the tone for modern R&B, but instead, The Weeknd set his sights on something bigger, conquering pop, because, you guessed it, he had no intention of giving fans exactly what they expected.
That's a
Back
fact.
in 2012, when I was continuing to do that kind of music, people were fed up with it. They were like, this is all he can do? He told Pitchfork. I owe it to myself to show the world how versatile I can be.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm probably one of the only people who liked when Weeknd was doing R&B. And not doing pop music. It just makes it look like he was just like it makes it look like he got greedy and wanted to just like make more money. You know, like I feel like he suppressed his art just for monetary gain. And I sometimes don't really rock with the pop music that The Weeknd puts out. I would just really rather him just go back to doing everything, like all those first mixtapes, you know, Thursday and Echoes of Silence and all that stuff, like Kissland. I missed that weekend versus this weekend. That's like, you know, not to say that he doesn't do it, but he just doesn't do it as much because he's so like, his album is like filled with like sections of R&B, and then the majority is going to be pop music.
An artist, I didn't have to learn, he said about writing pop songs. It's always been in me. I just had to be confident enough to let it out. Working with producers like Max Martin and Kanye West, I've learned to do certain things technically and make songs in different ways than I usually would, but it's always been in there. I'm a pop artist. You could put me in one category. Existing within his own lane, Brent Faiyaz seems to be winning on his own terms, even while holding no desire to be labeled as the next phase of R&B. Even more impressively, his debut album Wasteland landed at number 2 without him sacrificing his independence. And much like many others who briefly saw success before it blew past them, Brent has no need to pander to what audiences expect from an R&B singer.
It's funny because today Puffy tweeted out something like, "Who killed R&B?" and it always seems like a conversation around challenging the state of R&B. Like, is what going on now meet the standards of the past, of the 90s and the 2000s and stuff like that?
I mean, people are so stuck in that classic. There's people that wouldn't classify me as R&B artist. There's people that's like, that ain't R&B, that ain't what I know. And if that's the case, then I guess not. I personally don't live and die by no damn genre. I really don't care. If you think it's R&B music, cool. If you don't think it's R&B music, cool. I just be making music. People love it.
In Brent, and to a lesser extent, Steve Lacy, we see that R&B today
has Steve Lacy too.
From the romantic playboys of the past, and more of a place for experimentalism. Now, the idea of a heartthrob like Usher or Omarion is out of date, and the artistry is everything. So while it might mean that the R&B as we once knew it is quote-unquote dead, there are worse things to have than an overwhelming...
I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, you like what you like. Whatever you grew up on is what you're gonna like gravitate towards. I'm more for I like more of a I like a Brent Faiyaz or a Black or a Bryson who are like off to themselves and just make the music. And it's like, if my fans love it, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making this for everybody else. I'm making this for my fans, and that's it. You know, those are the R&B artists I really gravitate towards. You know, same thing with the female artists as well. The ones that were named in like some of the ones that I really like gravitate towards. Like for instance, I love like her music, and you know, she seems like one of those who is like, hey, my fan, I'm just making this for my fans and nobody else, you know, that type of deal. So I don't know. Maybe R&B will surface back to what it needs to be, but for now, it's just it's stuck in this place of like, let's make rap music, pretty much.